This here vehicle is a Ferguson TE20, considered by many to be one of the first ever quote-unquote tractors, and it is most famously renowned for its 3-point linkage on the rear. So on the rear of the tractor there are 3 links, 2 lower linking arms and 1 upper linking arm, which would be there but it connects to that there link. Now this piece of machinery was considered revolutionary in its day, and it had many implements and tools designed specifically for it. One such implement is this here 2-furrow plough, and that relates to there being 1 furrow, 2 furrows, and the specific thing about this is the fact that it connects to the tractor by the 3 link arms, the 2 lower link arms and the upper link arm. And this specific model of plough is made by the same company, the Harry Ferguson company, who makes Ferguson tractors. As time passed, the Ferguson company merged with an American company, I do believe, called Massey. And you might know the name now, the Massey Ferguson company. So this here tractor is a Massey Ferguson model 135, which says here on the side. And this is running, so we're going to use it to be towing our plough. However, one hiccup in the system is that this here moldboard is in fact broken. So it should look like that, where the moldboard curves nicely and bonds or sits right up against the frog. In this case, it is broken, so I've removed it, and I am very lucky in that we have a spare main arm and moldboard. Now, I'm not sure how much you know about ploughs, but the act of a plough is to dive into the ground and to flip over or invert the ground so that any stubble or weeds or grass is inverted and will cease to grow, and you're left with a new plateau of dirt. Now, this is in fact a very cumbersome ordeal, so in order to aid the ease of flipping over the ground, you want the plough to be in a sweeping action as well as very smooth. So as you can tell from the sound, which is a bit rough. So in order to keep the blade or the moldboard nice and smooth, a particular kind of bolt is used. So this one I cut off because this blade here needs to be removed, and as you can see there is a tapered head, then it reduces to a square head, and then the regular bolt. So the square head goes into the square hole, which prevents rotation of the bolt, and then because you want it to be smooth, you don't want an extruded head, so you have a tapered head, so that when the bolt is placed into the hole, you can run over the head of the bolt nice and smoothly. The only issue is that these bolts are 75 years old, and so are very rusty, so I could not remove them and had to resort to chopping them off. And you would, in a normal case, be very worried, because how are you supposed to access a 75-year-old bolt that is a very particular bolt? Luckily for me, my local parts company had some in stock. I had no clue that these would even be about, but they just had some. So that's very handy dandy for me. So these just go in and they fit nicely, just need a wee bash, and that should get smooth. So a shout out to William Lindsay Agri Seals for not only being able to source these bolts but having them in stock. So again, you can see there the difference. You have your tapering head along with your square head and then your regular bolt. Also, because of course this is 75 years old, it is an imperial measurement with a 11/16 thread, or diameter, you know. So here you can see the difference in what's left of this bolt due to its continued use. Now this plough hasn't been used in maybe 15-20 years, but there is a lot of wear on this, which is why it's probably a good idea to get new bolts anyway. That was a tough one to crack. Look, I even ended up drilling straight through her and then bashing it out. Woo! Came clean out. Because I can't reach the bolt with a grinder, I've resorted to a jab saw, and it is very slow and tedious, so I do not recommend this, and what of my actions may result in injury or death, but I've put a very large wheel on a very small grinder and taken off the guard so I can just get that wee extra bit of depth. So don't do this, and I'm going to be very careful. Right, maxing out again. Bigger disc. Yes! That went swimmingly. Time for bashing now. There we go. Woo. Now, ooh. Just need to get that bolt out then. Ah, and a lovely blade. Battery. So I needed to trim one of the bolts because it was too long. While I'm in here, I can grab my 11/16 spanner because the bolts are actually imperial, so they are like proper ones. So I'll start off with this one over here because they kind of don't line up, which is, well, they do line up, but at the same time they kind of don't, but that's just how it is. So if I can get that one, and then I need my shortened one in here. Where's the hole? There it is. And is it short enough? Yep, it's short enough. So now here's the challenge. Hold that in place, use my thighs, while I jiggle that enough so I can get the bolt in and get it started. Now this is going to be a challenge. How do you do this? Oh goodness. After a lot of struggling, turned out this support link arm thing on the back was actually bent, so I had to bend her back into place and then got her on. It took a long time to figure that out, so now I need to make the whole thing smooth with a flap disc. I've resorted to coming outside so I do not get lung cancer from this. I gotta say, she really doesn't look that great, but the main thing is she's smooth, and that's what we want to glide. Also switched into my summery attire because it's like 25 degrees, even though this morning it was 10, but that's Northern Ireland. Just about fit. Okay, now in my defence, this is the first time I have used this apparatus to plough, so it does dig up the ground, I suppose, but as you can tell from this large lump that is almost inverted, it does kind of work. And then up here, you know, you can kind of see a bit of digging upness, so kind of works. Now, I have ploughed properly in my life, but because this apparatus is such an old and effective, very effective method, it is such a delight to me to see it work. Because look here, look at that, see that right there? There is your track, and it is inverted, folded over, look at that. Didn't make it quite the whole way. Start to dig in here, kind of flipped it over, but look, that one worked. So yes, it does work. It may not be the most effective method, but it gets the job done and it keeps my health intact, mostly, apart from the fumes. So at the moment, that is everything I hope to use this here plough for. Later in the year, I'm going to actually plant some crops with it, but at the moment I just wanted to tear up the ground in the tunnel because digging takes a lot of work. So it was broken, now it is not, and at the moment on the tractor I've got our mode of secondary cultivation, which is our tines, like C-shaped tines, and when we go to plough later in the year, we'll plough, then we'll use the tines, and then we might plant spuds, and we've got a specific piece of machinery for that. So when it comes to that, there will be a video somewhere about where you can watch it. That won't be for a few months, but thank you very much for watching. It was a pleasure to use this piece of machinery, and it was quite enjoyable too. Now, I doubt anybody noticed because it's not that obvious, but for some reason there's a depth adjustment, but only for the outside furrow, this one here. So it is currently stuck in the shallow position. So this one's deep, this one's shallow, and I tried moving it, but it's stuck. So my furrows were uneven.